Here's another video on my 2010 KTM 530 EXC. The issue that I'm looking at today, I think, is an intermittent problem with the key cylinder and the contacts inside. Let me show you what I'm talking about. So normally when you turn the key, you get the trip computer lighting up, and at that point you can also run DC accessories. Here's like the signal, and you can of course start the bike. But periodically I'll come do exactly the same thing and I get nothing whatsoever. Starter does nothing, then I'm kickstarting. It's a bad day. I've been trying to figure out exactly where this problem lies. I've taken lots of connections apart behind here, scrubbed them, reassembled with silicone grease, and I'll have it fixed and then it'll come back. So the place where I'm at now, I think it's the ignition, because recently I was able to shake this thing around until I got lights like I expect. With the headlight shell off, I can more easily demonstrate the problem. So I'll set the right turn indicator, take a look at the trip computer and the turn indicator. Normally, when you turn on the ignition, you get the light up of the trip computer, and any DC items like the turn indicator will also light up. And at this point, I can crank the starter. So we're in a good situation here. But if you turn it too far and press down, you see that it goes blank. So I've basically turned the ignition on and then just a little bit too far and lose connection. Sometimes that sticks. So you flip it off and back on and it doesn't reset like it did just now. So definitely something inside here. Hopefully I can fix that issue by taking it apart, cleaning it, possibly making some adjustments inside. So follow along with me and we can try to figure out how to clean and repair this key ignition module. It's kind of an expensive part. I was just gonna swap it out, but after seeing the prices on them, I think I'll take it apart instead. You want to start by disconnecting this 4-pin connector. This is what I've focused on in the past. I've actually cleaned it out really well and used silicone grease to make sure that it doesn't have corrosion issues. And then the actual key module, you can grab this with some pliers if you want to, or you can actually just kind of rotate them back and forth. You rotate this one way, and then if you had two hands, like I do when I don't hold a camera, you can actually turn it back and forth and this will slowly loosen. Let's try the old chin mount. There we go. And then it pops right out. And I see something concerning already. Is that a zip tie holding this cable in? I think that's a zip tie. Is that a factory zip tie or an aftermarket zip tie? Guess I'll find out soon enough. So it looks like it has 3 tabs that have to be depressed in order to drop out this bottom part. So I'm gonna start by trying to loosen up one at a time. No doubt there's a KTM tool that's meant for this. Enlisting a helper screwdriver here, I think I'm gonna have to press this down with one and then pry it open with another. This will probably fly away on me again. It's almost as if they wanted to make the key lock tamper resistant. Let me see if I can repeat what I did here, which was to push down with one screwdriver and pry away with another. Now the one part is released, I'm gonna see if I can just kind of push out the other ones by hand. There we go, there's 2, and number 3. There we go. So there's the base. Obviously that's just a cover. The meat of the switch is inside there. So I think that's more of the same. Just need to depress these pieces of plastic and then it should slide out, I'm hopeful. Oh, these are gonna be far more challenging, I can already tell. There's not a lot of give. Yeah, like that. So if I push the screwdriver in from the bottom, I can then pry downwards, and that would make it slip, except for now I need something to make it actually move. So again, I think we're back to the 2 screwdrivers, or maybe just one. All right, so new plan. So up from the bottom, pry up, then come back and pry it out. Guess you're partially deforming the outer case plastic, making room, but I'm okay with that. So pry it up and come back in here, down and up. All right, so all 3 are free now. And there it is. So the key goes through the tumbler, and at this point, all it does is turn that keyed shaft. It doesn't know anything about the electronics that are below it. Down here in the electronic portion, which just fell apart, this isn't so different from like a lawnmower, riding a lawnmower type ignition. It's just a set of contacts, wow, look at those, that are fixed here, and then the key is connecting them together with these contacts up here. So you've got potential of 3 contacts touching each other. As you turn it, you're connecting, you know, this one to this one or this one to this one. I don't know the specifics on here. I'm gonna have to kind of go through and ohm it out and figure out what does what. But certainly very dirty. And is that corrosion? Oh yeah, that green, that's the evil green stuff that you don't want to find on electronics. One more thing, you notice inside the housing for the tumbler, there are these kind of recessed areas that look like you could fit a ball bearing in them. Well, it's because you can. This part has spring-loaded ball bearings. There's springs behind them. And so as you turn it, these balls fall into those sockets, and that's what gives you the positive positions, off, on. I'm gonna get to cleaning all of this stuff really, really good, and then we'll start investigating what's allowing that over travel. Got the official cleaning t-shirt out, and the kit today consists of some electronic cleaner, old toothbrush, and we may get to some Scotch-Brite, but let's start with this cleaner. It's pretty good stuff, and you can spray it with a band and you're not gonna hurt anything. So I'll keep on cleaning every little bit of this until it's as clean as I can get it, and do the exact same thing here. In fact, I'm just gonna go ahead and give it a initial spray down, see what we come up with. These are gonna clean up nice. This is the first polishing I've done. Everything before this was just the toothbrush and the electronics cleaner. And you can see they're cleaning up pretty nicely. So I'm just gonna do all of that on all 3, and then come back and give these a good polish as well. These, you can tell, have a bit of a groove wearing into some of them. And that groove could cause some hangups, or cause one of those contacts potentially to like ride up on the side of the groove, make a weak contact. The Scotch-Brite will just kind of knock those down. And again, the lubrication and the anti-corrosion properties of the silicone grease really is magic on these connections. Polishing is complete, and a fresh clean with the electronics cleaner. These are as clean as they're gonna get. I'm not gonna take apart the lock tumbler cylinder, probably using the wrong term, any further, but I will lubricate it, probably with graphite. I'll have to look that up. For putting it back together, I'm gonna use 2 products. Dielectric grease, this is what I keep referring to as silicone grease, and also some standard grease, or this is actually engine assembly lube, which is just a really high quality grease with moly graphite in there. So we'll start by lubing up the areas where the ball bearings turn on these little, what would you call it, divots? Actually, I don't want to get this everywhere, so I think what I'm going to do is actually apply on here, and then I'll rotate and then probably reapply. So we'll insert that onto the key shaft or the lock shaft. And so putting some pressure down, we can turn it back and forth. Oh yeah, I can feel it's more positive in the off and on positions. And you can see it traverses all those holes, but really it's just going on, off. There's not like an accessory position, at least I can't feel one. Let's add some more, do another round to get it nice and lubed up. Okay, so that's considered assembled. Then for putting this part in, you have to look inside, but there's actually a little key right here. That key, which is hard to get in the light, down here matches up with a relief right here on the part that has the contacts on it. So it just tips in like that, and it's that position where it slides in really easily. So what I've got to do is apply some of the dielectric grease to the contacts. This is always like too much or not enough. It's really actually pretty tough to dispense. Oh yeah, too much. So anyways, fortunately I've got enough contacts to cover here that'll be the right amount. Not really worried about putting too much on. Better than too little, I think, in this case. So with that, we can reinsert this contact portion. Let's push it down. Okay, it locked into place. Looks like I didn't mangle it too much to go back together. And so now we should have a working key ignition module, and this is good enough to test it on the bike. On, off. Very positive. I've reinstalled the key ignition module electronically and physically on the bike. I have not tested it yet, so you're seeing it for the first time here. Key in, and we'll flip on that signal to give us an indicator. And I'll start clicking it. There's on, off, on. Can I go too far? I'm like on and then pushing further to the point where I feel like I'm gonna bend the key if I go any further. I can't turn it on far enough to make that connection go away. So I'm gonna call that fixed. Well, I do think that's a KTM factory zip tie just to provide some strain relief. I don't see any reason to mess with it. So I'll put this bottom cover back on. Again, it has a key right there. So we'll just line it up and push it on. And this thing, of course, is designed to be open to allow water to flow out. So it's not really sealed. It's even got a little drain hole in it right there, which strangely isn't all the way at the bottom. That's too bad, but in any case, this thing is designed to let moisture get out. So that's really all there is to it. I'm pretty confident this fixed the issue. I just need to tighten this up a bit more and then research what's supposed to go into that lock. Oh, maybe I'll do that now so I can include it in the video. Well, I looked into lock lubrication options. Graphite is one option, but the thing I actually already have on hand is Tri-Flow. This is PTFE Teflon. You just want a dry lubricant that is not going to stay wet, attract dirt, and gum things up inside. So I'll just kind of hold the key slot cover open and get some of this down in there. I say it penetrates down in there pretty well, prevents corrosion, provides lubrication. And, you know, if it's worth putting in, it's worth putting in too much. So I'll just keep at it. This thing was really dry. And now I can mix that around by tumbling it back and forth with the key. So I'll do this a few hundred times and call it good. Well, I'm really thrilled to have found and fixed this issue because it feels like the final step in what's been a long journey to make this a really, really reliable electric starting bike. I practice kick starting. I can do it if I have to, but I really, really don't like to. Some of the other things I've done to help it start well, adjusting the valves, getting these clearances just right also affects the decompression system, which is automatic in this engine. Rebuilding the car with a JD Jet kit. I've got an adjustable low jet here. I think I've got that dialed in pretty well. Also changing out the stock lead acid battery for a lithium ion anti-gravity battery. And if you've seen some of my previous videos, I've done quite a lot of work inside of here, but one of those things was adjusting the starter saver or starter clutch. It's not supposed to be adjustable, but you actually can tighten it or loosen it. That affects how much torque is transferred from the starter into the crank. And if it's too loose, then when you get to top dead center, your compression goes up, the starter will start slipping the clutch rather than keeping that piston speed up, which is what you need to get it to turn over and start. So with this final piece of the puzzle, my confidence is as high as it's ever been that when I'm way out in the sticks, it's late, I'm tired, or I'm injured, and I need that starter to work for me, it will. If this was helpful to you, if you have the same bike or another KTM maybe that has the same ignition module and found this interesting, hit that like button. If you've got questions, feel free to put them down there in the comments. I'm always happy to discuss these bikes, and I usually learn something as well. So feel free to ask away. And as always, thanks for watching.